What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what's really moving it today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down 2.93%, 391 the low, $4 is the high. And you're seeing a lot of volume though. So 5.4 million shares being traded within the first 30 minutes of the trading day. So today is going to be a fairly heavy volume day, but unfortunately, it is getting dragged down with the broader market. So algorithmic trading is really pushing it down, unfortunately, even though there is zero correlation between NIO and the US downgrade. So this is just the kind of comical side of the market. At the same time, you're seeing shorts return 345,000 shares. So they even see this as not really like a justified pullback. So again, that's why I like to analyze a lot of this data points and whatever else, but 12.76% of the free float's being shorted. So I do anticipate shorts to continue to return throughout the day because it doesn't logically make any sense. Although there was some data that did come out that was going to be key in order for NIO to really move higher. And so you did have industrial production, retail sales, and unemployment. All not necessarily the best, especially retail sales came in at 5.1, forecast of 5.6. So kind of breaking the last couple of reports of it being very positive. So I think in reality, NIO and just other Chinese stocks did need this to come in kind of stellar in order for it to really move higher. And so unfortunately it didn't really pan out as that. Aside from that though, there's absolutely no data points, no SEC filings, no speculative topics to really bring up about NIO. So it is just at the mercy of the broader market. And of course, market doesn't like NIO, as I've kind of shared with you in the past. So I think in reality, if you do believe in NIO, take advantage of these kind of discounted prices because essentially shorts are returning. I see that as optimistic because they can easily double down. As you can kind of see right over here, there's in excess of 10 million shares available, and it is fairly cheap to short NIO. So cost to borrow is 5.71%. So if they really did feel NIO was just garbage and it was going to go down, they can easily double down, but they're not. They are taking advantage of kind of the illogical market and returning some shares. But quickly moving over to the options, I'll give you a quick summary of this. So 389,000 in calls, 189,000 in puts. 50% of all the options being done today are bullish in nature. So good to see. And so that does also kind of signal that today's pullback isn't really justified. So people are buying some calls based on that. Based on at least the bulls, they are kind of still believing that it'll be roughly around that 4 to 450 by the end of this week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 4. So definitely a lot more upside still is anticipated. Right now with that 399 trading between this R1 and the pivot. So 396 is going to be a strong support. And then 407 is going to be the next strong target. In my opinion, I think even just generally, in the first half of the trading day, you're going to see a kind of a move higher. So big money will be buying the dip in a lot of these cases. And I think through that, algorithmic trading will really start to push NIO back up. So that's just my kind of 2 cents on that. Could be wrong, of course, but no news, no SEC filings. Technicals, though, it is bouncing off of that 50-day moving average, so that's going to be a key point. So 407, so another element to kind of watch for. But I think just NIO is a frustrating stock overall, as I've shared with you. Even though all the signals point that it is going to break out, you just have, for instance, algorithmic trading just dragging it down. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. There's just a lot of fear kind of starting to increase. Japan, their 40-year yields just shot up like a rocket. Same with American. So I think just a lot of uncertainty is starting to kind of increase, and maybe that's one attributing factor why algorithmic trading is kind of pulling NIO down as well. But I feel like it is just not really justified in my opinion. But aside from that though, no new analyst ratings. So last one came out 3 days ago. $4 price target, 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗛, who has a 48% success rating. No articles even coming out about NIO. It's just people are now wondering like what is coming next. And so I feel like the next big catalyst for NIO is going to be some sort of trade deal, or at least a kind of a secondary step to that, or NIO's earnings. And so I think historically that should be in the first week of June. So that could be a pretty good catalyst for NIO, depending on obviously the results. But based on at least analyst forecasts, things seem to be moving up. So earnings per share currently is negative $2.56. That's based on 6 estimates or 6 analysts. And then moving over to the revenue, this is exactly what you want to see in a good stock, is huge growth. Although Q1, you do see 12.54 billion, and that's quite the jump from the last earnings, which did come in at 19.7. So very low expectations, so that could really stand to help and benefit NIO, but NIO ultimately just needs to execute. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Are you buying the NIO dip today? Are you selling? What's your kind of 2 cents on all of that? Like I said, I do feel later in the day there will be a very nice recovery to at least around that 407 range, and then we'll kind of just have to wait and see what comes next. So let me know your thoughts. One final thing, pop over to my Discord, completely free. A lot of good people talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you ever need in life. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.